Sorry, I was muted. Hey everybody, Caleb here. I had to remember to turn on the microphone. Would you believe it? Before I got started. It's been a while since I've gone live. So I'm going to have to remember how to do all this stuff. But here we are. I think we're live. I think we got audio again finally because I turned the microphone back on. I see at least one comment from Daryl saying, sorry, no audio. Yep. If I would have remembered, I would have turned it back on. But here we are. I think you recognize this guy. This is that guitar I've been building, and I figured since it's been a while since we've done a live stream, I can sit down and focus on getting stuff like this guy a little further along. You could probably tell by looking at the back of it, it looks kind of funky because I've been doing grain filler. I think the back is just about full on grain filler. I just need to now sand all of the excess off. So that's one of those things that I kind of want to do today. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and point the camera down and we'll focus on what I'm doing here. And we'll get a little bit of this work done. Let me move the camera around. I got to get up to do it. So we're gonna... right there. All right. Here we are. So, I'm getting this thing further along. I've done a couple of things to it since it's had a video for it. I finally found the tuners. So I bought tuners for this while I was at Jerry's, and then proceeded to put them in a box and have no idea where they were up until maybe a month ago. And I finally started test fitting them to see if they were going to fit in this, and the headstock's still too thick, so I need to take some thickness off the back. So, just one of those things that, because I've been in such a rush and never done this all in one sitting, I got to go back and fix it. But, yeah. Let me grab some sandpaper. Just drag the box over, it's easier. And, yeah, no, we've been doing good. It's been a minute since I've gotten any good work done on this guitar, and it's been a minute since I've uploaded really anything new. So I thought we'd go live here and see how we do. I can see we've got a few people on. Not a whole lot in the realm of comments yet, but y'all can come on, check in the comments, and I can see who all's there. Make sure that we've actually got audio, because right now I've got no ears in, so I can't really tell. Make sure we're doing good. Okay, good. We've got audio now. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah, no, it's been a while since I've done this, so I'm way out of practice for going live. I know Jerry's doing live streams every day these days, and yeah, no, that's a lot. But yeah, no, I've been working on this thing off and on. I did start working on this a couple days ago again, trying to get this grain filler. I'm trying grain filler on this. I know Jerry doesn't really like grain filler on his guitars. But I've been using this Aqua Coat. We used this on Troy's guitar when we did Troy's guitar, the electric one, that kind of Les Paul Jr. that we did for Troy. And I really liked it on there. But granted, it's an electric guitar. It's a really different ball game when you're talking acoustics, and just for what it is. So I figured I'd try it at least. Since it's my first one, you know, it's going to have plenty of flaws as it is. So if I'm going to be experimenting, I may as well do it on the one that's I know is going to be flawed. Okay, cool. We're starting to see some people checking in here. I see Joe Blogs and Papa, greetings from California. Joe Blogs asked what my view of hide glue is. And you know, I am not as opinionated as Mr. Rosa on hide glue. I don't really use it for anything except for labels. What I have found is wood glue comes apart pretty easy if you really need it to, with some moisture and some heat. But I have seen good things about like the fish glue, and it's pretty similar to the hide glue. But you know, I'm a simple kind of guy. I got my wood glue. Okay, finally getting some work done on this guy. I really ought to finish this thing. I think I ran out of video clips finally. I think I finally have everything that I have done on this uploaded on the channel so far. I think everything is caught up to I'm ready to finish it. Which it's not super in order because I was uploading parts of stuff I did while I was Jerry's, but I think everything for this guitar is actually on the channel now. And unfortunately, I've decided to work on it and try to start working on finish work in the coldest part of the year, and there's no way I'm spraying finish. I think the high today was like 14. So not really good going out and spraying finish weather. And since I don't have like a good setup inside for doing that, I need it to be warmer. Okay, this is starting to look good. So I need to sand this down basically to basically just the wood at this point. I need to sand this down so I'm almost back to the high spot of the wood, or basically there, because I think my pores are pretty much filled and I just gotta get back to them. So I can, as I'm sanding here, what I can see is the texture from me putting the filler on, which was done a little bit in this direction and a little bit in this direction, but there's high spots that are now, as I start to sand, not glossy, they're really flat, and there's low spots that are glossy that I haven't hit yet. So what I'm doing now is trying to get that all back to that nice and flat, but it really helps me see what's not there if I catch the gloss in the light. Starting to get that smell of that wood filler. It's got a smell to it. Let me see if I can't clean some of this off. Okay, well, yeah, you can kind of start to see how this side's coming out flat and this side's still got a little bit of gloss to it. You can see the reflection of my hand better in this side. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. I still got a little ways to go here yet. this and doing this again once it's finished is my least favorite part of working on guitars. Finish work is by and far my least favorite part of actually doing the guitars. Which is why I put it off, and then I have to go live, so I have to focus on doing one thing, like this. Jay Boogie says, finish work almost made me quit building guitars. Yeah, it is the worst part. I love gluing stuff together, and carving stuff away is not bad, but man, finish work is just the killer. It is the worst. And that's where I'm hoping that this goes well, because I honestly think, like, this sand's really pretty good. And if this sand's pretty good and it can be the bottom layer and it can be flat for when I actually put finish on the thing, then hopefully finish will go a lot easier. I'm hoping that I really like the way this is going for acoustic guitars. I don't know yet. We really won't know until I can finally play the thing. Now, what I'm not optimistic about is down here, I'm starting to collect the sanding dust in some pores. So I'm not real optimistic about being done with this back. Jennifer Whitewolf asked if I still chat with Jerry fairly often. No, I don't talk to Jerry that often. He did text me a couple weeks ago asking about, which if you've seen his live streams recently, he talked about it a couple of times. Asked me if I wanted to buy his buffer off of him and his Go Bar clamping thing he built. That was a couple weeks ago, and right at the time he texted me, I was like right in the middle of having the flu. So I did eventually go down there and pick that up, but I don't talk to Jerry that often, and I catch his live streams maybe once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. But Jerry's busy, and so am I. I mean, it's crazy all the time how busy I am. Like, when I was down there at Jerry's, when I was working there, he was busy all the time, and I was in the shop most of the time, so it wasn't, you know. But no, he would say it's crazy how busy you can be doing this. You know, it's crazy how busy you can be when you work from home. But you are absolutely as busy as anyone. There's always something to do. Now, I don't know if Jerry said anything about it, but while I was down there, I know he was talking about it the other day when I came down, and they had tons and tons of visitors that day, so he was stretched pretty thin. But while I was down there, he said something about, like, the reason he sold me the buffer was he was trying to make room in the shop. He had mentioned that he was trying to make more room in the shop, and that maybe he was talking about selling that little bandsaw he has, not the grizzly one, but the little one. It shows up in a couple of videos doing a couple things. It's the one he usually keeps the smaller blade on. And I've still been thinking about that, because I've got a big grizzly bandsaw, but it's kind of in storage, and it requires a 220 outlet, and I don't have one to plug it into. I'd have to take it in the laundry room and plug it in where the dryer is if I wanted to really use it. So I've been thinking about texting Jerry and seeing what he'd want for that little bandsaw, but it's just something he mentioned and something I'm now bringing up. Cup of Cool says, finish work might suck, but it'll make it beautiful in the end, and plus you got a new buffer to help you out. And yes, absolutely, that new buffer, well, the old buffer, Jerry's buffer, the one that StewMac makes, I like so much more than the buffer I had. I like the big wheels better. That was, when Jerry texted me and asked me if I wanted it, I was, yes, immediately. I think, so he texted me, and he probably expected a longer response than I gave him. He said, hey, would you be interested in buying my old buffer and go bar system? And my response was one word, yes. Because I didn't really care, you know, what he was going to charge me for it. I wanted it, and I knew Jerry's going to help me out. He always does. So, yes. Okay, we're starting to peek through the filler in one or two spots because I'm starting to get a little orange, which is okay. That's right about where I want to be. The problem I'm seeing is I'm still seeing pores that are open, that are filling with dust. I'm not liking that. Not liking that too much. Let's see, let's catch up here. Jennifer White Wolf said, I'm really glad to hear you're busy. Hopefully that means you can make a go of it. Such an honorable way to make a living. Well, thanks for saying that. And yeah, I am busy. I got a feeling I'm entering guild season again. Last year, I think, or probably earlier last year, I had that run of like 7 or 8 guild guitars in a row, where it was guild guitar, guild guitar, guild guitar, guild guitar, and they all needed about the same thing. Well, in the last week, I've gotten 2 emails that I still haven't responded to, but I did read them. I'm terrible about getting onto emails. I have to sit down and spend a day on emails, but no, I've got 2 emails in the last week or so about guilds, so I'm imagining we're entering guild season again. Which I'm not really complaining. Guilds are okay. They're built well, so they come apart well, and they usually have about the same issues amongst themselves. But yeah, I've just forewarning for all the viewers. I think we're entering guild season again. Bruce Hines says hello. Hey, Bruce. Jay Boogie says, I have 2 guitars I started last year. I got to the point of poly finish I was using keep giving me issues, so I put them together. I'll have to redo the finish in the spring. I also have 3 other projects going for friends. I don't do it for a living. I can only imagine which you guys do. Yeah. I think the biggest thing that changed between when I was at Jerry's to when I'm doing this for myself is actually all of my projects slowed down, because my number one thing, I always feel like I got to get the customer instruments done. And people send me instruments, and I stress over keeping them for too long. I always number one stress is I really need to get this guitar back to the person it belongs to. And so my projects they sink to the bottom of the list, and they continue to do that. So sometimes I need to sit down and just work on something on my own, because I know that there's people who want to see this guitar get finished, or some of my other side projects get finished, and here we are. But yeah, no, I customer instruments, they stress me out when they stay here for too long, and I've got a few that have been here for too long. I'm just about done with this side, I think. I say that, I'm going to focus on this edge a little bit. There's some wonkiness going on down here. But it's looking good. Jennifer White Wolf says, I have had my guild since 66. It's a Starfire V, Starfire 5. Electric, served me well my whole life, in my 70s now. Yeah. I like guild guitars. I really do. And, I do mostly acoustics for customer work. I try to stay on acoustics. I prefer working on them generally. I like guild guitars. I've worked on quite a few. They're very reliable. It's almost always the same couple of things when they come in, which sounds like maybe they were built, when I say it's always the same thing, it sounds like, oh, well, then they have these problems. But they're really not that complicated of issues, and for it to be always one thing rather than always everything, it's good. They're good. I say the same things about Gibsons too. Old J45s, J50s, they are almost always the same thing. It's almost always a belly bulge, and it's almost always the bridge is coming off, and the bridge is always bolted on and has put cracks in the top, and it's always a shame. But I really do like those old Gibson J45s and J50s. They're probably one of my favorite guitars I've worked on. And they're reliably the same thing. Jay Boogie's headed back to work. Well, thanks for dropping in. I always enjoy someone who does something similar. Oh, man. Okay. I am just about done with this side. And this sandpaper is not the best. I will admit it. I'm ending up with big chunks on there, and I'm worried about putting massive scratches in. So, that's why I've changed sandpaper a couple of times already. But here, I'll try and show this to you so you can see. So, let's see what we got here. Maybe I'll zoom in. That might work better. That's better. Yeah, there we go. So, up in here, it looks really good. It's really smooth. I don't see any open pores. Out towards the edge, I can see where we're pooling dust in the pores. And that is where I've started to, like right in here, I've sanded through all of the pore filler. So, I'm going to need more on the back of this, which that's fun. That's what I'm going to say. It's fun. I've also sanded through up in here, but it's looking good, I think, yeah. Like, the middle looks great, and it's probably just because I bias the middle as I try to put the pore filler in. But, it's looking fine. It's going to need more pore filler, and I'm not crazy about it, but that's where we're at. Zoom back out here. Right there. That's good. Yep, I'm done with that piece. Had to wear a jacket down here. I'm in the basement, and it's been so cold outside. The ground has gotten all cold, and now it's cold down here all the time. So it's not crazy cold, but it's probably in the 60s down here. I've had a heater running for most of the day to try to help warm it up, and closed off all the spaces a little bit so it'd be a little bit warmer in here. Exactly, but I turned that heater off right before I started streaming, so we didn't have to hear it in the background the whole time, but it has been cold. And on top of it being cold, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, probably a month ago, we had a little visitor show up on our back porch, which the worst time of year for it to happen, but we had a dog show up on our back porch that didn't have a collar, was absolutely terrified of everybody, and she decided that the little outdoor patio couch that's on the back porch was the comfortable spot for her, so she didn't want to leave. And then it started getting cold, and it was like, well, this little skinny, well, I say little, she's a big dog, but this skinny dog on the back porch is gonna need someplace. So currently she's in the garage, so she's not out there in the freezing snow. But yeah, somebody dumped a dog out by us, and we've been dealing with that too. Alright, this is going pretty good, but I'm seeing some deep pores in here I'm not real thrilled about. There are some that are full, and actually, now that I say that, most of those look pretty good. There's just a couple that are got divots in them, like pinholes. I want to get those flat. Yeah, I'm tired of that piece. I used to bother to cut all this sandpaper, and then I realized I can just start ripping it, and that works a lot faster than finding scissors. Especially for me, because I mean, they're right there, but I gotta get up to get them, or I can just rip it and be done. Starting to sand through right there, I can tell. Well, Jennifer White Wolf's headed out. Well, thanks for dropping in. Oh, man. Already hitting that part. Already covered in dust. Which feels like kind of like what I've done all week. It's just been covered in stuff. I did some of this yesterday, 2 days ago. And then 2 days ago I was helping a friend do drywall, and that got me covered in dust. And doing the drywall mudding, and that was nice and cover me with filth. And then yeah, doing this again. It's been a dirty week. I want something. I know what I want. Razor blade. Just scrape off the chunks that are sticking to my sandpaper. Bruce Hines says, love watching you build and or repair videos. Wish you could do more. Yeah, I wish I could get more videos out. It's just me, though, and it's hard. I've told people I try to do the 2-week upload schedule once every 2 weeks, but it takes me basically, a week and a half to get the work done, and then about a full day to do any video editing, and then a full day of email responding in there or two, and there's my 2 weeks. It takes me everything to do it. And I don't really like splitting it up into parts, like doing shorter videos over parts. It's not really my favorite. I do prefer to keep it more of, like, I think my style fits better is the long form, you know, end up being hour videos or so of just working on guitars. But yeah, I wish I could put more out too, but it's just me. Joseph Galasso says you don't ever use grain filler. I am using grain filler right now. This is only the first acoustic guitar I've built. Jerry Rosa, if you don't know, that's where I learned how to do all this stuff. He doesn't use grain filler at all. He doesn't like it. And I've used this before on the one electric guitar I've built, which is on the channel. The video's there. And it worked good, but I'm curious about how this is going to go tonally and how heavy the finish is going to end up being. I don't really want a super heavy finish on an acoustic guitar. You really do want it to be pretty light, so you resonate well. But yeah, I am using grain filler on this. Looking at what we got here. It's looking pretty good. There's a little spot up here. It's looking okay. Change sandpapers. I've got some scratches in here I'd like to try to work out, which I suspect is just coming from my sandpaper. That's better. I need to focus back here a little bit more. Bill Trainer saying he's here. Hey, Bill. something I was just thinking about. I changed microphones in the last 6 months or so. I actually don't remember how long ago it was. And I was gonna see if anybody had actually noticed. I switched over, here you can kind of see it, to a more directional mic, hoping that maybe I don't pick up as much background noise. So if you've been watching Jerry's live streams on the Rosa Streamworks channel, he got given 1 or 2 of those Shure. Is it the 3? It's the Shure podcasting mics. I'm pretty sure he got given 1, and I really like those kind of mics. I think they end up sounding good, but they're like $300. So I was looking at some other options, and I came across a YouTube video talking about those particular microphones and how they share a lot of the internals with the Shure SM58s, which is the vocal one. The 57 is the really popular instrument mic or the amplifier mic, but the 58s I think are the vocal one. But they share all the insides with the big heavy ones, except for the bigger ones. The more expensive ones have a preamp in them, I think, so you can do some sound shaping right on the microphone. But anyways, I came across a video where a guy was talking about it and talking about how the internals at least used to be basically the same. So what you could do was 3D print the enclosure here to hold it where it's supposed to be in the direction it's supposed to be, mount it to the kind of mic stand that I have. It's the same, and then you'd basically have yourself one of those nice $300 microphones out of a $99, or if you buy used, somewhere in the $60 range microphones. So I 3D printed this enclosure and the front grill and the mounting point, and just made my foam insert fit. And I've been liking the sound. I haven't noticed anything terrible about it. I haven't really done a lot of playing guitar in front of it, and so that's where I'm kind of curious, because the one I was using before was a large condenser, so it picked up a lot of room noise. But this one should be a little bit more directional, and so I was wondering if anybody had noticed, and where we were sitting on mic quality. I can see some spots. Bill says mahogany really needs some filler, especially today's mahogany. And Joseph said ash also requires filler. Yeah, so this is Paduke. It comes really red, and it's pretty bad. It's about as bad as I've seen as it comes to like deep pores. I think actual rosewood is better by a lot, I think. But yeah, no, this Paduke is bad. It's got deep pores. Which, yeah, so Jerry, he just like spraying it. He'd spray it and spray it and spray it and sand it all the way back. And yeah, it takes a while to fill it, which is why I'm trying to do it this way. I'm hoping this way I can do less coats of this and get more, well, less coats of this and less coats of lacquer this way. So I can do just what I need out of this and then do a couple of real thin coats of lacquer and then be done. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. And that was what we did on Troy's guitar when we did that mahogany Les Paul Jr. that's on the channel. It was a couple of coats of this. We didn't use nearly as much of this this grain filler on his as I'm using on this. This has been quite a few coats in compared to what we did on Troy's guitar. But and then lacquer, it was like 2 coats, and it looked good. Like I was happy with it. I did a few more coats than that, but like 2 good quick coats, and it was flat and it was shiny, and I was happy. But that's what I'm hoping for out of this. Really, is I'm hoping that once I go to start spraying lacquer, that it's quick, a couple of coats, and I'm done. Because I don't want a big heavy lacquer finish on my acoustic guitar. I would like my acoustic guitar to have a nice thin lacquer coat so it resonates well. Changing out pieces of sandpaper again. I found the biggest thing I have to train myself to do is to just throw a piece of sandpaper away. Not commit to it longer than it needs to. I've done the same thing with carbon paper when I'm refitting necks. Is I want to make it last longer than it wants to. And you just end up happier if you just change it out. I'm running through grain filler right here, and I've still got tons of tiny, tiny pinholes. Like somebody took the end of a like a thumbtack and just dotted it. So that's not really what I'm looking for. So we'll probably end up putting some more grain filler on here today after I do the sides. Really all I'm working on here is the Paduke, the back and sides. The spruce really doesn't have any pores to fill. I mean, it's really not anything compared to this. And this mahogany's not bad, and I've done it a couple of times. Plus, I still need to thin this down. So really it's these parts that are the worst. Bruce says mic sounds good. That's good. I'm glad. I worry about sound quality for this sort of thing. I really want this to be, well, better than, to say it bluntly, I want it to be better than lots of shop noise. I want you to hear me and not have to hear the air conditioner kick on or the heater kick on or too much extra noise. That's my goal. I'd rather you see my microphone than have to hear people walking around somewhere not on camera. Speaking of setup stuff, I've talked about, so my dad and I were talking, and I was thinking about trying to get something different going on with the camera setup. I've been looking online, and they've got a couple of setups where they've got like bars that run up all four sides of your desk, so you can put the camera basically anywhere. And and they connect to the top, so they kind of make a framework. So I've been trying to figure out a good way to get the camera basically straight above me. I've had a couple of things that I've used that I don't really like that much, but I'd really like to find a good way to get the camera straight above me on my side so you can really see what I'm doing. Because right now I can show you what I'm doing, but you can't see it while I do it. If I were working on this side, you can't see it. But I can, and it works better for me this way. But I'd really like to get a way to get the camera on my perspective. So we were talking about ways to do that. Hopefully we can find something. And I'll probably end up building something for me because buying something's too expensive. All right. We're getting there. Oh, man. Let's see what we got here. So, what I'm looking at is not bad. It's going to need just a little bit more. Because like I said, there's just little pinholes. So we'll put some more on here in a few minutes. I'm going to try to do the sides as well. Whatever day it was that I did this, Monday maybe? No, so it wouldn't have been Monday. Tuesday, while it was snowing. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. Yeah, it had to have been Tuesday. I put filler on here, but before I did that, I did what I'm doing now. I sanded this all back and then added some more filler. I did the back and I did the sides, so now I'm going to start sanding the sides, which I can't show you that way. So we'll go this way for right now. We'll spin a little bit more. There we go. This is one of those moments where I don't know if I need a camera over here, if I need like a GoPro on my head. I don't know, but it's kind of hard to show exactly what I'm doing, and I wish I had a better way to do it, but right now I just don't. Come on. Alright, we're gonna have to do something different. Let me come up a little bit. There we go. That's better. Okay, we're doing better. We're doing way better. I don't think this was as thick. I don't think I had as much grain filler on this as I did on the back. Which means this is going to need a significantly bigger coat, because I'm going to have a lot more grain still open. Gotta remember to keep my mic in front of me. Like I said, it's a lot more directional, so I gotta remember to be talking into it. Gonna do this You know, I've always been really happy with the design of this guitar. Like the way everything is worked out, black and white. I've been really Like I really enjoyed like the single back strip, and this was a mistake filler because at the time that we were doing this, the time I cut the sides, Jerry's blank for cutting sides was about this much too short, and so I needed an extra large tail strip to fill in the gap. And I like the way it turned out. It was just a couple of filler pieces from this, that, or the other. It's still maple and it's still ebony, just like the binding and the back strip. But I really like the way it turned out. It's going to end up being where I hang this from when I go to finally spray finish on it. Alright, we're going to flip this over and do the other side now. Do you love sanding? Because I love sanding. Sanding is great. Feels really good. After an hour of sanding, I'm really feeling the love for sanding. Okay, that's looking good. It is kind of difficult to sand with the square block on the rounded sides. So for this last little bit, I'm just going to use my fingers. Flip that over. Come back this way. It's easier this way for me. Okay. Last thing I'm going to do before I put some more grain filler in there is I have been doing the neck as well. And we're going to continue to do the neck here in a second. I'm going to bring us back down a little bit. Zoom us back in. Okay. I need to do around the heel, which this is one of those times where it's hard to show what's going on here. So I'll try to turn it towards you so you can kind of see me. Do this by hand. I did want to pour fill this mahogany. I really went back and forth on whether or not I was going to put finish on this neck at all, or just do an oil finish on the neck. I went back and forth a lot and finally decided that I'm just going to spray it with the rest of the guitar. So I went ahead and started grain filling it, just like the rest of the guitar, so that it would be good to go once it's good to go. Now I'm going to finish that up. Did I throw away? Probably did. Okay, this will work. Fastest way to do this, right here. Okay. Phenomenal. Let's clean this off if I can. And I might go get a small amount of alcohol to help take any dust off of there. Make the dust stick. So we got that. Need one of these. Probably a fresh towel. Like I said about sandpaper earlier, sometimes just go get a new one. Same is true with towels. I'm about to sneeze. Try not to. Okay, and then we'll just do this. Clean the dust off. Go on. Okay. That's done. Now it's time to basically undo everything I just did. It's time for more of this. I'm gonna go get a good spreader and maybe some gloves. Okay. Put some gloves on. I don't really like this junk. Let's see what we can do here. Reading instructions again. Filler can be used on wood if staining. Filler can be applied before or after stain. Seal of X, blah, 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 blah. Apply pressure against the grain with a small squeegee, Bondo blade, or old credit card. Wait. To begin, work filler generously with pressure against the grain with a small squeegee, Bondo blade, old credit card, or fingers with glove. Lightly scrape off excess with squeegee, Bondo blade, or lightly credit card with the grain. Allow 30 minutes to dry. Cool. We'll try that. Sundog Brewing says, if you tried using a cork sanding block, sold furniture guys use them and it really helps. I have never heard of that. A cork sanding block. I'm going to look into that. So, it says apply pressure against the grain to start, and then use the my squeegee, my little plastic razor blade, to remove the excess with the grain. So that's what we'll do. A cork sanding block. That's like regular cork, right? Like you'd find in a bottle. I don't know why I closed this. I need more. Come on then. Thank you. If you just tell the objects what you want, they might do it. trying to focus on those spots I knew was bad towards the edges. Now I've got a couple of spots you can see are darker. That's where I sanded all the way through the wood filler previously. All the way through. And really probably should have done a better job of that, but I think it will be okay. It just means I got to do everything I did today again. At least the sanding part. Okay, so apply pressure against the grain. And then use my plastic razor blade here to go with the grain to remove the excess. I'll start putting that on the sides, everything I scrape off. This, I think, is going to be pretty good. This, I didn't scrape off the excess last time. I just left it and let it dry. I think this is going to make some difference here. Okay, I'm thinking I'm liking that. Here, I'm a little bit off camera. It's looking pretty good. Set that down in there. Most of those were words. We'll keep going with maybe taking my hair out of it, if I can. We'll rub down the sides now. Same deal. Applying pressure against the grain. Stand up and see what we can do here. See if I can make a huge mess on the carpet. That's a good idea. I'm as bad as a dog. Trying to get my microphone back. Okay. I've applied it all the way around. Let's see what we can do now with this. Ray Mari just joined. He says, just got home. Is that grain filler? It is. I am, in fact, using grain filler. I know that's probably a surprise to some people who watch me while I was at Jerry's, but this is my guitar. This is the one that I've been building for myself. And, well, if I want to find out for myself what I think of it. I'm trying to take the excess off. Ray asked what the setup time. It's 30 to 45 minutes, I think, is what the container says. If I remember right, we did this on Troy's guitar. That's about right. It was 30 minutes or so. Especially if you scrape off the excess, like I'm currently doing. And so there's not huge pools of it. I'll show it. It is this Aqua Coat Clear. That is what I'm using for this. I'm sure humidity affects the setup rate, because this is like water soluble junk. I know that at least while it's soft, it's cleaned up with water, and it cleans up pretty good with water. So I'm sure that if it's dry in the room you're in, it dries faster, which it has been dry the last couple days, as it's been cold. So I'm hoping this dries pretty quick, but I'm thinking that's about all I'm going to get out of this for 30 to 45 minutes. So we're going to do something different. Now, I didn't put any on the neck, except for where I grabbed the neck, and I'm okay with that. I think it's pretty much good, and considering I had to do more work to the headstock later, I'm not going to fuss with it too much. Plus, it gives me a handle. So, I think we're going to say goodbye to this for today. We got some filler on there. We may come back, but I think we're going to be done. We're going to work on the other thing I wanted to work on today. And this is going to be a huge change of pace. So, longer than I've been working on that guitar. I've been working on this guitar for me. This was a kit. I'll point that out. I bought a kit a long time ago and never finished it. I wasn't real thrilled with the binding that came on the kit, so I rebound it. I wasn't real thrilled with the way the tailpiece was, so I changed it. It was one of those, like the stop bar tail, not stop bar tail, but one of the wraparound tailpiece. So it was back here, had the bar up here, and so the strings come over the bridge and then ended there. Well, I changed that out to be a stop bar. I went ahead and found the center line, drilled the holes, so it's going to have a stop bar tailpiece instead of the actual behind tailpiece. I've got all the electronics for this. This is supposed to be for me. I was supposed to build this years ago, and I've never gotten to it. You can probably tell the binding is still tall after I rebound it, so I need to go through and scrape it all flat. So that's kind of what I was going to work on next. I've got a brand new razor blade out. You probably just saw me get it out, and I'm just going to go through and I'm going to scrape this binding flat. I am going back and forth on redoing the sound holes, the F holes. I'm going back and forth on it. They're kind of sloppy. It's been a long time since I've done this. This was probably pretty early while I was at Jerry's. I guarantee you the last time I worked on this was at Jerry's, at Rosa Stringworks. So it's been a while. I remember working on it there. Jerry said, "Oh, you like doing the mother a toilet seat for the binding." And for what I wanted out of this, what I want to do for color, yes, that's what I wanted. I think it came with like a cream color on it, but I wanted something else. Ray says like a Gretsch. I think it's actually like a Gibson. It's a 335. I think 355. Somebody's gonna know. I'm gonna know which one's which. One of them's bigger. One of them's smaller. This is one of those, but it's got the diamond shaped F holes instead of the F shaped F holes. But yeah, I rebound this while I was at Jerry's, and I never got around to finishing this. Just another one of those projects. And I'm going to end up painting this one. It's an electric guitar. I'm allowed to paint those. I wouldn't really want to paint an acoustic guitar, but this process is messy. This gets everywhere, these little shavings, and it smells. The plastic for the binding smells. Ray asked what color. I've got a really dark blue for the top that I want to do. And I'm just going to do the top in blue. I was going to do the back and sides in black, so it'd be more focus on the top. That's what I wanted to do. It's a really dark metallic blue for the top. That's what I wanted. I think I have to find a new neck for it, though, because I think I screwed up the neck. So I think I could probably just find a similar kit and pull a neck from it. I wasn't real crazy about the neck that came with it anyway, because it was a 6-in line, and I would kind of prefer a 3x3 like the old Gibsons are. I mean, the other option would be I could build one, but I'm not real crazy about building a neck right now, and I've not really got the tools to cut out a neck right now. But yeah, no, I've got all the junk for this. I've got the pickups. I've got I spent forever picking parts for this, and I never finished it. It's terrible. It's just another one of those side projects of mine that got low priority once I started worrying about getting stuff done for everybody else. Ooh, that's sharp. Yeah, this was one of the first real big guitar projects I did. So I had this before I went to Jerry's. So I've had this for, 5 or 6 years probably. And it's just taken a backseat to everything else that came in front of it. I had this while I was still in college because I was sitting at the dining room table pulling the old binding off with a heat gun, and I was burning the old binding, and it was a mess. And I, multiple times probably shouldn't have done this really, but I jumped in further than I was probably ready for. But yeah, this is an old project that I need to finish. Although I think, nope, I take it back. There's one other electric guitar I need to be working on too, but yeah, the problem is I really don't play that much electric guitar anymore. Oh, I cut myself on that binding. I cut myself good. Fantastic. Okay, give me a second. I don't particularly want plastic in there. Yes, I am taping it up. Okay. No plastic in there. Ray said he's done the same, all the parts to build a telly bass in no time. Yeah, Dad wants a telly bass, if I ever got around to it. That was what he wanted. And same thing. It was a, once this is done, I'll do that. And then 5 or 6 years later, this isn't done. Oh, come on. Don't do that to me. Yeah, cut that out. I keep slipping. Maybe I should switch hands. Oh, it's coming along. It's feeling pretty good. It's gonna look really good when it's done. I really dig the style. I gotta finish this thing. And once again, so I get all this done, and once I decide what I'm doing with the sound holes, the F holes, it's grain filler time. And so I'm right back to where that one is. I put grain filler on it so I can paint it. Granted, this maple is not going to take anywhere near as much grain filler as that Padauk. It's got grain, like open pores, but no, they're not the same at all. These are a lot longer, but not nearly as deep as that Padauk. So oh, man. Ow. Stabbing myself with the razor blade. And we've still got the back to do. And I don't know where it picked that up from. This has been in a box for months. I've got no idea where that came from. Not that it matters much. This is getting painted black. I think I'm going to paint it black. I've gone back and forth about whether or not I'm just going to dye the back and sides black or paint it black. I haven't decided. Alright, let's do something interesting. That's going to be slightly more interesting. I'm going to pull this off. I'm tired of this. This is ugly. These corners are just ugly. I just didn't do them very well when I did them, but you know, it's been a while. What can I say? Yeah, let's see if I can pull them off. Yeah, both sides are pretty bad. I'm sure I glued this on with canopy glue some years ago at this point. Getting these off might be fun. Might just grab a chisel. That whole top is flexing. Okay, I'm not doing that. Heat gun. Let's try the heat gun. Okay. Some tools I've been using recently as I've been trying to pry apart glued parts. All my palette knives. I'm going to heat this up and see if that glue won't give a little bit. It's coming. It's coming eventually. Well, I have tossed around the idea of not binding these. The sound hole, the F holes. There are ones without binding. And I've considered it. I'm not totally sure it's what I want to do quite yet. What I do know is that what was in there was ugly. It was not a good try. And I've got more binding, so I'd rather at least redo it. Alright. I can tell it's been a while since I've done this. There's a piece of binding tape I just pulled out of the inside. Oh, man. This is, yeah, something I would have done a long time ago. Oh, come on. There we go. Ray said, do you want the diamonds to stand out against the blue? The binding will do that. Yeah. I'm mixed. I'm really, really mixed on it. I'm just trying to figure out how good do they look without binding. They look pretty good. They're not the cleanest, but I could take a file and clean up those where I think it doesn't look totally clean. I think for right now I'm going to leave it unbound. I think that's what I'm going to do for right now. I really, really can't decide. I think it would be okay unbound. I think if I put some tape in and paint actually the sides, so if I put some tape in like this, when I do paint it, and so that the sides actually get painted so it's clean, I think we'll be looking good. But, currently, that is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking I'd like it better if it weren't. I don't know, like, I'm so used to mandolins at this point. I'm, you know, you don't, I mean, not that you don't, but most mandolins I'm used to, the F-holes are not bound. And so I'm used to that right now. Because I'm used to working on mandolins or having mandolins around. But, I mean, the guitars, they do bind them. Sometimes. Sometimes they don't. So I think for right now, I'm going to leave it unbound. I'll maybe take a file and clean up these edges. Make sure they're nice and clean. I mean, because once again, this came from a kit. Not a super expensive kit, so you can't expect it to be perfect. But, for right now, I'm going to leave it unbound. But I'm open to opinions. If you guys are watching, you want to tell me what you think, I'm listening. I know that old stuff had to come out. The corners were just too messy. And honestly, putting new stuff in is not going to be loads of fun either, getting it to line up good. But I will do it if I think it's going to look the best. This does not want to scrape the back. Am I just dull? Maybe. This is still a little loose, as shoulders, well, not shoulders, though, the waist usually is. It always ends up being loose. Okay, I'm making some adjustments to my razor blade so I stop hurting myself. There we go. Now it's a tool, not just a workplace hazard. That reminds me, when I was at Jerry's, anytime he'd hurt himself doing something, anything, he'd say, time to have our safety meeting. Don't do that. And I still think about that a lot. That's pretty much normal Jerry right there. Time to have our safety meeting. Don't do that. Just making sure it's all solid. It's been a while since I've done this. I don't really remember where all the issue spots were. Come on. How long have we been streaming? 2 hours? A little over 2 hours? Yeah, we can keep going until I get close to being done. As long as there's somebody here watching, we're doing good. As long as I'm not talking to myself. Ray said he's followed since my first day with Jerry. Sadly, no longer follow him. I really like watching his builds. Yep. I have edited a few of Jerry's builds while I was down there. And, you know, I was there the whole time for the last couple. I'm trying to think, how many builds was I there for? I think he was finishing up a mandolin when I got there. And then we did two guitars. We did that 12 string, and then we did Paul's guitar, which shows up on this channel quite a bit. I say quite a bit. For a guitar to show up on my channel quite a bit sounds really bad because I do repairs, but no, Paul's guitar comes back every once in a while for a tune-up. But no, I think we did. Did we do 2 guitars and 2 mandolins while I was there? Or was it, did we do another guitar? We may have done another guitar. I don't remember. I finally hit the point which, well, of course, I've been doing this for what, 5 years? I think it'll be 5 years in May. Was it 2020? I started at Jerry's. So I've gotten to the point in which they all blend together. I've forgotten instruments that I've worked on. I'll get an email every once in a while and say, oh, I saw you working on this guitar while you were at Jerry's, and I have no recollection of that instrument. Even since I've been home, like since I've left Jerry's and I've been on my own, there's ones I've forgotten, I'm sure. I got an email from a guy I've done work for before, and I recognized his name, but I said, what did I do for him? I don't remember. But, yeah. I've done quite a bit. Ray says you helped him set up his laser cutter. I did a lot of laser cutting. Well, so I didn't really do a lot of setup on Jerry's laser cutter. What I did most was the digital designing. That's just well, I don't know. I enjoy that part. I enjoy doing the digital stuff. I enjoy doing the video editing. I enjoy doing, like doing it at Jerry's. It was doing designs for the laser cutter. I enjoy that. At this point, I've got my laser cutter. I ordered some new mirrors for my laser cutter, which is pretty similar to Jerry's old one. He actually got given one last year sometime, I think. But I ordered some new mirrors for mine, hoping it'll fix some issues I've been having. But at this point, most of my laser cutter stuff is either I'm cutting squares for cleats, or I have someone I know, one of my friends from high school, who's like a actual CAD designer. I call him up and I say, hey, can you design me a thing that looks like this? And he's usually very supportive. So what I've been joking about was recently was I am turning myself into, I don't know, my uncle loved the show, there's some pretext to this. My uncle loved the show Pawn Stars with Rick Harrison, where people bring stuff into his pawn shop and you learn about it and then you try and buy it from him. I have realized I am becoming that, in the sense that if I run into an issue, I know somebody who can help me with it. It's always, well, let me call my friend who knows how to do this specific thing. But it's always, some super specific, I need to 3D model a part so I can use a tool on this inside of this guitar. Well, I know who to call. And I've been joking about that recently. But yeah, that's what I feel like. Is I've got a buddy who knows it. Yeah, Ray says, I got a guy. Yeah. But no, yeah, It occurred to me a couple days ago. I was thinking about, I've been doing this since May of 2020. I was 20 years old when I started with Jerry. And it was right as my sophomore year of college was over. Well, and COVID was full swing. That was that March we went home from school for spring break and then didn't go back. And Jerry put out that video. He was asking for applicants, and I said, what the heck, I don't know what else I'm going to do. I didn't really tell anybody either, but I'd been watching Jerry since my senior year of high school, so I'd been watching him for 2 or 3 years at that point. And, I didn't really tell anybody I applied, because it was like, oh, I'm applying for this thing on YouTube, it's probably not going to go anywhere. But then Jerry called me, or emailed me. He emailed me back and said he'd like to talk, and because of COVID, we were home and weren't doing anything. It really did all line up just perfectly. That's annoying. I'm hoping this is better. It's not that much. Ray asked if that grain filler is good for all woods. He has a mahogany body. Also, what's the name of it? I missed that. Okay, grain filler is... Where did I put it? It is Aqua Coat Clear Wood Grain Filler. I have used it on mahogany. If you go back and watch Troy's guitar build, when I started doing finish on it, we were using this, and I really like the way it turned out. And it was mahogany. I don't know if I said that. I don't know if it says fills wood pores, create a glue, blah, 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 blah. I don't know that it says anything about particular woods, but I have used it on mahogany, on a big piece of that big slab of mahogany we did Troy's guitar out of. That's on my channel. If you wanted to go back for it, it won't be one of the last parts, probably part 5, that one that is like 2 or 3 months later after part 4. But yeah, I have used it on mahogany. So it actually says on here, ideal for, and then it says cabinets, furniture, refinishing, tabletops, pianos, guitars, and other wood instruments, jewelry boxes, millwork, and toys. Pianos, really? I wonder how many people are building pianos with Aqua Coat something. I think I ordered this online. I'm not sure I've ever bought it in the store. I know I have another one just like this because I couldn't find this one, so I bought another one to be my backup, and then I found this one, so I've got like a ton of this junk. But it's pretty good junk, so I use it for this. I'll definitely be using it on this. For electric guitars, I'm sold. I think it's great. For acoustic guitars, we'll see. That's kind of where I'm at. Ray said he'll look for that video. I'm pretty sure it's part 5 of Troy's guitar build. I would guess, because that would have been finishing, and we would have been close to finishing up at that point. I'm not sure how much I showed it off in that video, because at that point I wasn't totally, like, sure. Because it was just Mr. Jerry and his aversion to pore fillers, which I fully comprehend. I understand, like, where he's coming from and all that, but I was trying it out just to try it out. Ray's got to run. Well, I'll see you later, Ray. Thanks for dropping in. Got a couple spots on the back here that are loose. I ought to go grab a clamp and see if I can't unloosen them. Unloosen them. Add the negative in there just to make it more fun. Yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll see if this one will work. Better? I'm going to grab some super glue. I got an email from eBay a couple months ago that there was a recall on my super glue because it didn't have child-safe container, basically. To which I said, that's exactly why I ordered it. Right now, I can't get into it at all. There we go. Okay, put some glue in there. Bruce said, looking forward to see both these projects through to completion. Yeah, I'll try to keep showing them. My problem is, if I'm not live streaming, I'm not real motivated to work on my stuff. I end up stressing about customer stuff and working on it, so maybe I just need to do some more live streams. I don't know. We'll see. I know that clamp is stuck to there. That's fine. Came off. That's why we leave a clamp real close. It's still not quite stuck. Need more glue. Not that much glue. That's a good amount. Here we go. Super glue is your friend. It fixes almost everything. Except for when you stick your fingers together. It doesn't fix that. It just makes that worse. Bruce says, true that you're both your guitars, but consider them as projects for possible sale items might give you more. Yeah, I don't know that I could sell. Well, that's my first acoustic guitar. People have asked me before, are you going to sell your first acoustic guitar? Could you sell your first acoustic guitar? And my answer is absolutely, but it is, I know it's flawed. It's my first one. So I don't know who on earth would want to buy it. This one I can't imagine I'm going to want to sell because it's very specific for things I wanted. I spent a long time picking out parts, electronics, and pickups. What I need to be doing for motivation is just thinking about them as the YouTube channel, because I can do YouTube videos. YouTube videos, I need to focus on getting them done and thinking about it as channel content. But okay, it might be time to change razor blades. I'm actually getting kind of tired of this one. I think it's getting dull. Let me back up on the blade a little bit, see. But I'd like to do more, I'd like to do more YouTube-y content, more than just this. I did that April Fool's video, what now, almost 2 years ago, and it was a ton of fun to film and write, and I've been throwing around the idea of doing another one kind of similar to that, kind of a parody idea for a video, and I need the time to sit down and write. It is actually really difficult to write videos for me because so much of my videos are not scripted. I watch a lot of YouTube and I see the way that other people do stuff, and a lot of it is more scripting or voiceover, which is basically scripted. And I don't do that. And I mostly don't do that because Jerry didn't do it. And I could, I just don't know if I'd enjoy it as much. It doesn't lend itself to being as spontaneous. It's always more fun when I've got a live camera and microphone when I open up a guitar and see something terrible. I think about while I was at Jerry's, there was the time that there was something dead in the bottom of the guitar. Well, there used to be something dead in the bottom of the guitar, and that was like a good camera moment. You wouldn't have got that if it was voiceover, not as much at least. Or the time there was the yardsticks in the guitar, which honestly still one of my favorite guitars I've ever done. While I was at Jerry's, there was that Gibson. I hate to guess the model. I'm terrible on models, but there was that old Gibson that and I won't remember the guy's name that brought it. He was a really nice guy. He came from the Washington, D.C. area. I think it was like Virginia. That's where he came from. He came all the way out to Jerry's to bring us I think it was his dad or his grandpa's guitar. And it had those yardsticks glued to the inside. And that was good. That's one of my favorite repairs of all time. But, you don't get to see the yardsticks for the first time if it's voiceover. So that's just not what I'm used to, and to that degree, scripting videos is hard. But I do enjoy it. I do enjoy scripting videos. I think they end up being funny, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for when I script a video. I like videos to be funny. That's the kind of YouTube content I watch. And that's kind of what I miss about working with somebody else in the shop, is banter. I think banter is one of my favorite parts of videos, and I miss that about being at Jerry's. Hearing Jerry in the background of one of my videos, or vice versa. And that was the great thing about working with Troy on his guitar, was there was always something funny being said. Yeah, changing razor blades helped a lot. Keep falling off. We're doing good. Okay, this is coming along. Still got a pretty bad lip right here. Okay. Well, I got a lot of progress done today, if nothing else. Ow. No. It's tall enough I can just cut it off, honestly. Alright. My hands are tired of doing this. I'm gonna go check on the acoustic, I think. Maybe we'll clean up just a hair. Can sit right there. This is the one I'm obviously probably more excited to see finished, truthfully, because it's the one I built from scratch. It's looking pretty good. It actually recommends a higher grit. Let me see if I can't find the grit that it wants. Actually, 240 will work. As we come closer to finishing, I'm going to start following the instructions a little closer. This is dry. So for the how long does it take to dry? However long I've been going. I think it's been about 30 minutes, maybe a little longer. I think it was a little before 5 that we switched to the other guitar. But I want to see where this is at real quick. I like the way this is looking. It's looking good. I can't complain. Ooh, hitting something rough. Well, it's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to call it. I have been live for, what does it tell me? 2 hours and 40 minutes. About 10 minutes of that was prep. So 2 hours and 30 minutes. So I think I'm going to call it here. We got a lot of work done. I got more sanding to do on this thing. But I think we're going to wrap her up here. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks everybody for commenting. I was going to bring this up. My t-shirts are on my website now. I have about 80% faith in them. I actually haven't ordered one from the new people that make them. I have ordered one. It's still on its way here. So I still have some mandolin saddles in stock if that's something that somebody's been asking me about, because a lot of people ask me about them, and then Anyways, there's a few mandolin saddles still left in stock. Once again, thanks everybody for watching, and I will see you later.